Hello everyone, my name is ALKRTY. Today I will give you a short presentation on the topic of genocide prevention and the responsibility to protect. So we are going to talk about this a very serious topic. So I will give you a brief definition of this term of genocide according to the international law. And after that, we will talk about the atrocity crimes in general. However, we will talk about each crimes or atrocity crime as individuals. So this topic, we are going just to talk about genocide. So atrocity crimes include genocide, crime against humanity, war crime, and ethnic cleansing. So this topic has been divided into three, and it's going to be a big topic. That's why we divide it into many videos, so YouTube videos. So the second section is going to be about responsibility to protect. It's very important. The international community has to come together to work together to address this issue and not to have another experience of atrocity crimes around the world. Or so when we talk about responsibility to protect, we talk about the United Nations member of state has to come together to work together to address this problem. Regional organizations such as African Union, Arab League, and so on. Civil society. When we talk about civil society, we believe that the non-government organization or civil organization for human rights or other organization can play a crucial role to protect these horrific crimes. After that, we have part of to protect assessment early warning tools. So genocide as a crimes doesn't happen over the night. It has to be well planned and all this sort of thing. So therefore, there is many signs prior the crime itself. Therefore, we have to report it to the United Nations, and the United Nations can take a effective step to stop the genocide from taking place. All right. Okay. The first slides is about show you some photos around the world. There's photos from Africa, photo from Asia, some photo from the the early genocide that happened in 1915. The World War One and World War Two, and between them there is many genocide happened in the human history. So genocide prevention and the responsibility is very important. Okay. Right now, we talk about the atrocity crimes. We talk about genocide in particular, and later on in the coming video, we'll talk about crime against humanity, war crime, and ethnic cleansing. So the word genocide was first coined, which means defined by the Polish lawyer. His name Lemkin, Mr. Lemkin, in 1944. That was a long time ago in his books, and I recommend everybody to gain and read this book. It's amazing. In occupied Europe, so it consists of the Greek prefix genos, which means tribe or race, and the Latin suffix, which means the word that come at last of the end of the word, side meaning killing, and the same homicide and mothercide, all that mean killing. Every word that's finished with side, which mean killing. So I have some photo here in the slides, shows you these people have been displaced because of the non-international armed conflict. Probably this in Africa somewhere. I think in Sudan, West Sudan, in Darfur. So these people being displaced from this place because of the atrocity crime or genocide. Okay, we're still about genocide. I have placed some photo here too, 1915s, and there's a mass killing drive here happened in somewhere around the world, and also the slave trade from Africa to all over the world was sort of genocide too, because they forced these people to leave their own or their mother country to somewhere else, and they forced them to work as a labor or hard labor without any payment, without pay. So genocide is it consists of Greek prefix, as I said, genos, mean race or tribe, and the Latin suffix side meaning killing. So the Lois Limkin developed the term partly in response to the Nazi policies of systematic murder of Jewish Israel toward Jewish people during the Holocaust, as happened in 1915, but also in response to previous instances in history of targeting action aimed at the destruction of particular group of people. So the main element or the main aim of the perpetrator of the people that they try to commit or they committed the crime of genocide to destroy the whole the people in whole in part or in part. That's why the lawyer or Mr. Limkin has led the campaign to have genocide recognized and codified as an international crime, which he was successful. He was succeed in this term. Okay, genocide. Let me talk about the photos. People here from West Sudan, and they call themselves or the Janjaweed people who are responsible for the genocide in Darfur. So genocide was first recognized as a crime under international law in 1946 by the United Nations General Assembly. This is the code of the law is between practic I/RES/96-1. So it was codified as an independent crime in the 1948 Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide. The Genocide Convention is known very well known by the Genocide Convention. Though the convention has been ratified by the 147 people. By the way, I want to just mention that this convention or the Genocide Convention is applied to all the states around the world, so it's bound by everyone. So the convention has been ratified by the 147 states as of December until the December 2016. So 147, that's almost 90% of the world. I don't know what the rest of the state waiting for, what they're waiting for. So the International Court of Justice (ICJ) has repeatedly stated that the convention embodies principles that are part of your customary international law. This is the what they said, that is stated by the ICJ. Okay, genocide. Let's talk about genocide in depth. So this means that the whether or not the state have ratified the Genocide Convention, they are all bound as a matter of law. Just I have mentioned this before. By law, the principle that genocide is a crime prohibited under the international law. The ICJ has also stated that the prohibition of genocide is a perpetuatory, which means is compulsory norm of the international law. So, and consequently, as a result, no derogation. For example, nobody will make the convention, make it less, or take out something from it. It is allowed. It's not allowed. It's prohibition. It's prohibited by the law, international law. So the definition of the crimes of genocide as a contained in Articles 2 of the Genocide Convention was the result of the negotiating a process and reflect the compromise reached among United Nations member states in 1948. At the time of drafting the convention, genocide is defined in the same terms as in the Genocide Convention in the Rome Statute of International Criminal Court, Article 6, as well as in the status of the other international and harbor, which means like to produce jurisdiction. Many states have also criminalized genocide in their domestic law, which is great. Others have yet not to do so, but I will encourage everyone. We call upon all states to make the Convention of Genocide part of their domestic law, because it does make sense. Okay, let's move forward. Genocide Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide, Articles 2, as I mentioned earlier. In the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts. So we come to the depth of this the definition of genocide. So any genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial or religious group. As such, killing members of the groups, causing seriously bodily or mental harm to a member of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group condition of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing a measure intended to prevent birth with the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Okay, so we have a clear example in the war, in the recent human history. For example, in 1994, what happened in Rwanda between the two tribes or two parts, the Hutu and Tutsi. So it's not important, or it's not it's not required to all these elements to be available. One of them is enough. For example, killing member of the group, if that element has been available, that means there is genocide being committed. So the Tutsi members, they try to kill all members of the Hutu or Tutsi. The Hutu, sorry, the Hutu tried to kill all the members of the Tutsi group. What happened in 2003, the ongoing conflict in Darfur until now, the Arab groups or the government tried to kill the African groups in Darfur, such as like their tribe. They tried to kill them. That's why they targeted their village. They their and the other evidence that the people they been displaced from their place or from their hometown. All of them they belong to a such particular racial group. So this also, which mean here the Sudanese government try to cause or have been caused a serious bodily or mentally harm to member of the group, and killing member of the group, and deliberately inflicting on the group condition of life calculating to bring about it is physical destruction in whole or in part. Okay, let's move forward. This slides talk about the element of the crime. We mean by the crimes, the genocide crime, the atrocity crime of genocide. So the Genocide Convention established in Articles 1 that the crime of genocide may take place in the context of an armed conflict, international or non-international, but also in the context of a peaceful situation. So the genocide can take place either in peaceful situation or in non-international armed conflict or international armed conflict, and it happened, both of them. The later is less common. The peaceful situation is less common, but it's still possible. So the same article establishes the obligation of the contracting parties to prevent and to punish the crime of genocide. The popular understanding of what constitutes genocide tend to be a broader than the the content of norm under the international law. So Article 2 of the Genocide Convention contains a narrow definition of the crime of genocide, which includes two main elements. We will see these two main elements in this slide. Number one, the mental element, which they intend to destroy, and it's very hard to prove the intent or the intention of the people, intention to destroy or intent to destroy a particular group of people in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial or religious group as such, and a physical element. So we have a mental element and we have physical element. Maybe it's very easy to prove because but the mental element, it's inside, we can't see it. So but we can't prove it by the act of the people or of the perpetrator. So a physical element, which includes the following 5 acts enumerated exhaustively. Number 1, killing member of the group. 2, causing seriously bodily or mentally harm to a member of the group. 3, deliberately inflicting on the group condition of life calculated to bring about it is a physical destruction in whole or in part. Number 4, imposing a measure intended to prevent pairs within the group. The last one, or the 5th one, is forcibly transferring children from of the group to another group, and that's happening in Darfur. All right, this is still about talking about the element of the crime. It's very important, but this physical and mental element, this is the most important thing. So the intent is the most difficult, as I said earlier, element to determine. To constitute genocide, there must be proven intent on the part of perpetrators to physically destroy a national, ethnical, racial or religious group. Cultural destruction does not civics, nor does an intention to simply express a group. It is this special intent. As I mentioned earlier, it's quite very difficult to prove the element of mental intent and mental element. All right. Importantly, it's quite important. The victims of genocide are deliberately targeted, not randomly, because of their real or perceived membership of one of the 4 groups protected under the convention. So this means that the target of destruction must be the group as such, and not as it is member as individual. Genocide can also be committed against only part of the group. Okay, thank you. We come to the end of this very important topic. The last slide in this video is about resources. So there is a useful resource here. So if somebody interested for this who interested to get more information about the topic, please feel free to go to one of this link and you can get more information. Thank you so much for your listening, and I will see you sometime very soon. Bye for now.